Hello folks, my name is Sangram and I've come up with yet another learning session for you during this lockdown period. I was just observing today in my corridor, water spilled over and there was a water body which was on the floor, and since there was a slant, the water started flowing, because naturally if there is a slant or inclined angle, the water moves with the gravitational force towards the lower side of the inclined angle. While I was observing that, suddenly the water body splitted and there were tributaries which were created. While I was observing the tributaries getting created, further these tributaries went ahead and they merged together to again create a single stream of water, and the water started flowing thereafter. I learned one principle out of this, that whenever the water bodies, they start from one source or from different sources, the water tributaries finally they get converged, or somewhere they meet each other to create a larger water stream, which further goes to the larger water body like ocean, right? In terms of rivers, when we say. When I studied this principle, I came to know that it is called a principle of confluence. I tend to read a lot of things from the nature and try to look back, introspect as to these are all natural principles, typically what nature gives us, and most of the times these natural principles also are there in our body, because we are also part of the nature. Similar to last time when I spoke about a banyan tree, which is part of a nature, is a wonderful model for a succession planning, because banyan tree as a whole is an organization in itself and it lives for hundreds of years. And that's where I told last time that all the aerial roots, they give a support to the main organization, and that's how the organization as a whole, it sustains, it lives longer period and the longevity increases. Similarly, coming to this principle now, I thought, why not to apply this in terms of our cognitive theories and look at whether this principle can apply there, and can we really come up with some kind of technique of thinking towards one direction. If we as a human beings, when we look at our thought processes, we also have a lot of dilemmas in our mind. The reason of dilemmas are, again, it's a bipolar thought process. On one side, I get angry on some things and I demonstrate that kind of behavior. On the other side, my conscience hits me back saying that I shouldn't have been done that, or I shouldn't have done that, and I start feeling guilty. So there's one set of beliefs or mind or thoughts or emotions which tries to pull you back, and there's other set of emotions which are dominant, which lets you demonstrate. And in the current example what I gave was of anger, right? So on one side I become angry, I demonstrate my behavior because my emotions flow accordingly, and on the other side, the back of my mind or somewhere, a set of emotions which keeps me pulling back. Hey, don't do this, don't do this. Hold yourself back. So again, there's a bipolar cognitive areas while you demonstrate your behaviors. Similar to water bodies, there are two tributaries. One tributary might be dominant because the water flow is big enough, and the other tributary is bit of slow moving. But finally, both these tributaries, they go and confluence with each other, merge with each other to have only one direction. So I started thinking back, can these two bipolar emotive areas in a human being can merge, or when we start thinking, can it merge together in terms of confluencing together and have a similar objective? Folks, today all the stress or all kind of emotional turmoils, they happen because we have two sets of emotions, emotives, and the thought processes evolve out of those emotives. Finally, these emotives, which initially you feel that those are different, but those tend to converge moving forward, because the objective is a common objective. The intent towards these two emotives or emotions or thought processes, they tend to merge. That's the reason I thought, this is one of the best processes which we can really map and look at whether we can come up with a common technique, and I call it as bipolar emotive confluence technique. It's a bit of a therapeutic model. Now you'll say, is this a similar kind of model which NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, talks about, which they call it as parts integration? More or less, the principle lies the same, but the methodology, what I evolved by studying this, is a bit different. In neuro-linguistic programming, they talk about parts integration with the words what we use, the linguistics what we use, and the neural networks what we have in our brain. It manages and it tries to re-engineer to bring in the common theme. So parts integration again talks about on the similar lines. However, bipolar emotive confluence technique, or I always say in layman's term, dilemma diminishing process. We have dilemmas because of emotions, needs, belief structures, thoughts evolving out of it, and behaviors. Naturally, a lot of dilemmas are there in our mind and those conflicts requires to be diminished. And if you don't diminish, naturally there will be a lot of anxiety which comes up, a lot of guilt which naturally gets evolved. We say it's conscience, but naturally, there are two sets of emotions which are flowing there. So it's very, very important to have these two sets of emotives getting merged somewhere, understanding what is the final intent, what is the final goal, right? Are we looking out for a satisfaction at the end of the day, or are we looking at somewhere we say peace at the end of the day, or some kind of enjoyment, or say happiness at the end of the day? And if both the emotives are helping us to do that, then we have to, or we can think about stepping back and course correcting our emotions with a common agenda. This can be done with a beautiful technique, what I call it as the pyramidal technique. And in neuro-linguistic programming, it's more of a subconscious level. We try to do this. What we call is parts integration. However, here I thought to move up a level, which we call it conscious level. How we can do that? Because most of the times at cognitive level, it has two parts. One is the subconscious and an unconscious level, and the peripheral level is more of a conscious level. So unconscious, subconscious, and conscious level. We can really do this, and it really helps us to really converge the thoughts and help diminishing the dilemmas, help converging the bipolar emotives, the intent of it, and finally deriving a common objective. Therefore, the benefit of this is we try to consolidate ourselves, we try to reduce the stress and anxiety at our cognitive level, at the level of mind in layman's term. At emotional level, we can become more stronger, and we can emerge as a very strong person when we try to interact with a lot of people in the society and in the organizations. Guys, most of the times what we see is tip of the iceberg, always I say, and tip of the icebergs are your behaviors, and then you have the consequences. But we need to do a lot of work at the iceberg part, which is beneath the water, which is deeper inside, and all these turmoils, the emotional bipolarization, the stress and anxiety which we try to get out of the cognitive dissonance. If we really work on it, it really helps us become more stronger in our thought process, becomes more help, gives us a lot of confidence without any guilt feeling, without any anxiety, and helps us to manage ourselves at conscious level, because we have really worked at the subconscious level and we have tried to work at the unconscious level. I can walk you through the whole activity when I say I've come up with a bipolar emotive confluence technique or dilemma diminishing process. It has a wonderful experience what a person can get when he or she starts working at cognitive level, at conscious level. After you work on subconscious and unconscious level. I will share with you in the next episode as to how we can really do it as an exercise. We can work on ourselves, we can work with our clientele, we can work with people around you. You can help a lot of your colleagues and peers who are going through this kind of split thought processes or bipolar emotive turmoils. It's very, very important as behavioral therapists. It's very, very important as human resource professional experts. While we are dealing with people, people are full of emotions, people are full of belief structures, irrational beliefs, people are full of motives, and which are most of the times are hidden and you don't see those. What you see are the behaviors which stems out of all this big package which is at subconscious, conscious and unconscious level. Therefore, I hope this technique will really help you, and in next episode I will walk you through how to really do this at your individual level as a therapy and how you can do it for your colleagues. Thank you once again for listening me to, very patiently, and hope this has helped you from learning standpoint. Signing off. Stay tuned for the next session. Thank you.